Steve Backlund here. Hey, welcome to the Igniting Hope Beliefs Gym, where we work out our beliefs. Nobody wants flabby beliefs, and our load-bearing capacity is so connected to what we believe. We strengthen beliefs. We do reps. We rep with the beliefs about God, ourselves, people, circumstances, beliefs, promises, identity, prophetic words, what we believe the Lord has told us to do or not do. We strengthen those beliefs. And now, listen, sometimes we don't feel like working out. Sometimes we feel like, oh man, this is hard. And in life, we have days where maybe we feel like a failure. We're tempted to believe we're a failure. And really, great leaders have great beliefs, great priorities, and great systems. You're listening or watching this podcast as part of a system that you bump into that increases the likelihood of you ending up where you want to end up. We're intentional. We don't just start driving. We have a destination. Great leaders, great influencers break off losing cultures off themselves and others. And if you feel like a loser in any way today, you know, one thing about identity, if we believe we're a loser, even if we win, that's not going to help us. That's a side note. Wendy and I were talking about that the other day, and we break off losing cultures. We're winners. We're more than conquerors. We can do it all. We manage our lives while we strengthen our beliefs. But we realize what we believe is more important than what we do. Now, today, I'm going to share a message called Decide and He Will Provide. Decide and He will provide. It's a great principle. And it really ties into my book, Fully Convinced, The Art of Decision Making. And we're just starting up. I'm recording this. It's going to be released on Friday, I believe the 18th of June or 19th of June, and we're starting our course, 8-week online Fully Convinced course on June 22nd. Yes, hope I said June, not July. If you've been on with me in the previous podcast, you know I've had some challenges with calendar, and I'm a organized person who sometimes has disorganized experiences. But it really ties into that, decide and He will provide. And I love that course. It's a really, it takes some of my best content and puts it in the framework of decisions and deciding what we're going to believe and then deciding what we're going to do, getting a great process of decisions. And I share in the book and in the course, our dog Buddy, he's a schnoodle, big guy, and he battles indecision when we open the door after he's indicated he wants to come in, and he just frequently would just stand there. And I say, Buddy, you're powerful. This is what I'm thinking. You're powerful. Just decide. If you want to be in, but believe you're supposed to be in. If you want to be out, be out. I bless it. But believe you're supposed to be out. I'm supposed to be here. And the whole area of decision making it's an art. But the deciding what we're going to do. Now, the classic example of deciding and He will provide is Nehemiah. In Nehemiah 1, and the first 6 chapters of the Bible talk about the rebuilding of the walls. But in the beginning there, he has a secular job, and he decides, here's the walls of Jerusalem are down, and he decides, I'm going to fix that problem. He had no resources. He had no connections. But he made a decision. And all of heaven gets behind quality decisions. He didn't wait for resources to decide. He didn't wait for the right connections to decide. Now, this is really the point that I'm making today. And that when we make a decision, what we need is going to follow. And it did in that case. It's a great story. If you're new to the Lord or haven't studied that yet, Nehemiah chapter 1, and just the favor that he had. And he wept when he heard the walls were down. And you say, well, what do I decide to do? Because one of the big decisions that we make is deciding what's our key focuses in life and our key focus of influence, because we can't do everything. And what is our role? Well, what makes you cry? What makes you mad? What makes you think, hey, how come people aren't talking about that more? That's a great indicator that that's an assignment for you. Nehemiah said, I'm going to fix that problem. And we say, okay, what problems do we want to fix? What burns in our heart? What do we want to make better? What do we want to help get stronger? What freedom do we want to bring? And we decide. Now, it may take us a while to decide. It may be a building thing where we conclude. We have God stories. We have prophetic words. We note where there's favor and blessing on what we do. We note where we come alive while we're doing it. And all of this is a process to help us really decide. Decision making is so powerful. I think about Romans 14:5, where Paul says one person esteems one day and another esteems every day alike. Let each be fully convinced in his own mind. We get a good process of decision making, but the goal is to be fully convinced. And so when I'm talking today about deciding and he will provide, I think also about Abram, who the Lord just said, leave this area and I'll show you where you're going to go. There's a decision at times to leave something and where we don't fully know where it's going to take us. Where is this leading? And I don't know about you, but my tendency in the past is that I've needed to have all my ducks in a row. I'm calculating the logistics, calculating, do I have the resources? Do we have the time? And again, I'm not talking about wild, impulsive decision making. And some of you who are listening, you're overcoming impulsiveness, feeling-based decisions. And God's going to help you with that. He is helping you with that. But I'm speaking more today to the overly analytical and who are too logical, too focused on the facts rather than the journey and what the Lord's doing. Even church leadership. I was a senior pastor for 17 years. Yes, we made decisions. We looked at the budget. But there were times where our decisions were not based on the available resources or the projected resources that we had. Because if that's just exclusively how we live our lives, then we're going to miss out on what the Lord has for us. Because this is a faith journey. So there were decisions we made where we didn't have the resources. Now, again, we didn't do that wildly. And one of the things that I teach in decision making is the greater the risk we take is the greater the God story we need. Let me say that again. The greater the risk we take is the greater the God story we need. And the Bible is full of people who had incredible God stories for the things that they did. In Acts 10, Peter, a Jew who they were taught that it was certain foods you don't eat and you don't associate with Gentiles, non-Jews. But he had a trance, a vision, a voice, a divine connection, unusual coincidences that gave him a God story to move forward in that which at that time was never been done before. And the Spirit said, go, doubting nothing. And so he had he made a decision, decided, and God provided the confirmation, and even in Acts 11, had the confirmation of the fellow apostles as he told the story. Joseph, when Mary said, I'm pregnant, it's God, he said, man, this woman's crazy. But he had a dream that was so strong that it caused him to do the illogical. Gideon had the fleece, and the greater the God story goes down to the Midianite camp, and a guy had a dream, and the interpreter said it's Gideon, and it was something that caused him. He decided, and then provision came of the resources, the faith. Because when we talk about resources, we're not just talking about money. We're talking about resources. I did a podcast a while back on the abundance mindset. And one of my favorite declarations is this: I have an abundance for every good work. I have an abundance of health, energy, finances, favor, wisdom, power, love, protection, and time for every good work. Decide and he will provide. Now, what I'm not talking about is just saying, I'll never do that again. Maybe you fell back into a habit, temptation, or you did something that you regret. We say, I'll never do it. No, again, those moments can lead us to godly sorrow and can lead us to truly pursuing it. I believe that for all of us, if there's areas like that God's helping us with that. But it's bigger than just a sorrow-based decision. It's a process of conclusion. Because most decision-making is concluding what the Lord is saying. We get a great process of decision-making, and then we conclude, and then we attach faith to that conclusion. Some of you may say, well, man, I've decided to do things, and it didn't work. It didn't work. I decided a New Year's resolution I was going to eat better, and it didn't work. And there was no provision, or there didn't seem to be much. Well, hey, those who succeed most also seem to fail most. Toddlers learning to walk, they keep getting back up. Never stop starting. And we don't call it failure, we call it learning. Hey, I'm learning more about this area. I'm learning what not to do. This pressure is causing me to press in more. I just sensed as I was preparing for this podcast, I just sensed the Holy Spirit said this, that, Steve, there's people listening and that are in decision-making mode, in a place of trying to decide. And I want to speak to those who you really kind of already know what to do, but you're waiting for even more confirmation. And I've found this to be so helpful to me, is that I tell the Lord, especially the bigger decision, Lord, I've decided this is what you're saying. Here's the reasons why I believe this is what you are saying, from word, prophetic, from God stories to wise counsel, etc. And I say, this is what I've decided to do. And I'm going to give you 1 week to change my mind. And here's the deal, Lord. You can't change my mind through negative circumstances or negative emotions. You only can change my mind through a God story, another God story. And it's in the decision. Leadership teams, husbands and wives, people you're connected with that are involved in this, decide together and tell the Lord that, and watch what he does. Watch what he does. And I believe also the Lord is really clarifying, like Nehemiah, assignments. And even deciding and saying, wow, I mean, I believe, Lord, there's a calling on me. I want to fix that problem. I want to fix the marriages, parenting. I want to fix financial debt that's in lives. I want to help build a bridge between those who know the word but don't know the Spirit. I want to fix that problem. We decide. And then we watch what he does, who he connects us with. God can direct something moving better than he can direct something stationary. So this is the course, Fully Convinced. Really, this is just a little snippet of that course, or the book, Fully Convinced, The Art of Decision Making, where I say a bad decision made in faith has a greater likelihood of success than a good decision made in doubt. You can find out about the course at ignitinghopeacademy.com. If you can't afford the course, just email us at info@ignitinghope.com and just tell us what you can do. We don't want finances to hinder anybody from taking this course. It's online, Fully Convinced course, 2-3 hours a week at the most, mainly done at your own time when you're available. We have a weekly Zoom that if you can't make the live one, that's also recorded, of Q&A with me and with Connie Jones. Decide and he will provide. My, oh my. You're a great decision maker. You always know what to do. That's who you really are. Maybe it hasn't manifested fully yet. It hasn't manifested fully in my life. It's true. That's who we are. Hey, thanks so much for listening to the podcast. Hey, we're also doing a few other things. Wendy's got an online mentorship if you're interested in that, where, again, the ignitinghopeacademy.com. We're starting our Backlund Leadership Academy in the fall of September 2026 here, 9-month online leadership academy. Takes my 8 pillars of leadership. One of the pillars is faith-filled decision making, and we just immerse ourselves in that, immerse ourselves in hope, immerse ourselves in leadership wisdom and beliefs. That's at ignitinghopeacademy.com as well. And also, we're doing a Igniting Marriages event live with Peter and Melinda Lahai. Wendy and I will be speaking at that as well. We'll be video cast into the conference. It's live. It's in Redding, California. And we're also doing that online. So if you're looking for something for marriage that has hope, has freedom, Peter and Melinda have just such a great testimony of healing of their own marriage and of forgiveness, but just also wherever you're at, that's something that's coming up as well. If you know of somebody else who really wants to invest in their marriage and strengthen it, or they're in a real tough situation and they need to attend something like this, yes, Igniting Marriages, ignitinghopeacademy.com. Well. God bless you. We here at Igniting Hope, we're here to ignite your hope. The Greek meaning for the word hope is the confident, joyful expectation that good is coming. The confident, joyful expectation that good is coming. I believe after love, hope is the most powerful leadership, influential quality there is. It's very difficult to influence that which we do not have hope for. Our hope level determines our influence level, and he who has the most hope has the most influence. Increasing hope is the evidence we're renewing our mind with truth instead of lies. Decreasing hope is the evidence we're renewing our mind with lies instead of truth. And remember, too, the joy of the Lord is your strength. I used to say, well, I'll be joyful when all my uncertainties are over, when I'm completely over in any negative habits in my life, when all the people in my life are doing what I think they should be doing. I have all the money that I need. I'm only hearing good news in the media. Things are happening in my nation the way I wish they were happening. Then I'll be joyful. The Lord said, hey, you don't need strength at the end of the battle. You need strength in the middle of the battle. And for pretty much everybody listening or watching this podcast, this is not a good season to be radically joyful. I've never found a good season to be radically joyful. There's always some reason why. Now is not a good time. Romans 14:17 says joy is 1/3 of the kingdom. And when we're not passive about joy, when we go to the headwaters of joy, we get to let go of a lot of things that are working against us. We get to grow up. And then we increase joy through thanksgiving, seeing the tests that are in our current challenges, various trials, what they're actually seeking to test our beliefs in, and then by delighting in the Lord, becoming childlike and just putting our faith, more faith in God's ability to do what needs to be done and finish in me than my own focus on my own human effort. Whew. Blessings to you. Hey, just a few things prophetically that I'm hearing. God is highlighting key relationships in this season to invest in, and he's giving you grace and wisdom to do it. The Lord is raising you up for something bigger than you know. I mentioned it in the joy piece, but the Lord is delivering listeners right now from waiting for things to get better in their nation before they walk in joy and hope. I'm hearing that prayer partnership and just quick prayers together with people. And James says we have not because we ask not in James 4. That revelation of asking and then thanking after asking is really a key for breakthrough. And lastly, God's given great revelation on praying in the Spirit, praying in tongues. It's not about self-control, it's spirit control. All right, thank you so much for listening or watching this podcast. God bless you. Go to ignitinghope.com for a lot of free resources. Hey, and one other thing, just if you're listening to the end, I have a goal to give away a certain amount of books this year. And if you have a cause that you would like to let us know about, email us at info@ignitinghope.com. We're just getting certain potential places where we can ship books for free to a cause.
to certain people who would benefit by it. So if you know about that, you have something in mind, email us at info@ignitinghope.com. I can't guarantee we'll do it for everybody, but send that and we will prayerfully consider that. All right, God bless.